What are you reading, Mark?
Dude, I'm just admiring the old school updated art for Shazam in the brand new Shazam #1.
Nice, nice, nice. We should talk about that.
We should.
The dawn continues to rise in DC, and we will talk about not only Shazam but also Green Lantern is back after a hiatus. So we will talk about that right after this. Welcome back to another edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. I'm Paul. He is Mark. Before we go any further, don't forget to make sure that you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you comment down below, and don't forget to hit the notification bell because that will alert you whenever we drop new content. So we are talking about this. We're in season 3 now. We are talking about the dawn of DC. It is a year-long initiative where DC is kind of shining the spotlight on lots of different characters. So, and kind of seeing in some ways, what resonates with the readers. And although they're all kind of starting out as 6 issues, they promise that if obviously if enough people are buying them, they'll keep them going because they like that thing called money.
Mm-hmm.
But today we're going to talk about Shazam. And we're going to talk about Green Lantern, the return of Green Lantern. So let's talk about Shazam first. Mark Waid, Dan Mora.
Dream Team.
Exactly. And they're still doing World's Finest, too. They're not even going to give up that. They're going to do both. So
yeah, they really have turned into a modern Dream Team. I think it's the perfect pairing for this character, Captain Marvel, or the Captain, which we'll get into that. But Mark Waid historically has been great with this character. He's got a lot of history with him. And then Dan Mora's art shines through perfectly, like we mentioned in the intro. Definitely exciting.
Yeah. We start off with, the captain kind of going through a quick adventure with some dinosaurs from space. I know there are whales in space, but apparently there are dinosaurs in space too. So
Space Rex.
exactly. So he's trying to find a way. He's riding a dinosaur, trying to get it to stop. He gets it finally to stop, but only because it actually falls off of a cliff. And he realizes that if he just kind of flies below and kind of tries to just catch the dinosaur, he will puncture it like a balloon.
Yeah, go straight through it.
Yeah, exactly. So he quickly kind of puts together this big netting thing that catches the dinosaur.
It reminded me of the Peter Jackson King Kong, the fight when they were falling down the cliff, getting caught in the vines and everything.
Yeah,
so
very
Peter
much
Jackson
so.
has clearly watched that King Kong.
Right, exactly. And then we see, the captain kind of having some fun time with because they meet the parents of this was apparently someone's child, this child dinosaur. So they meet some parents, and they have some tea, which is all very odd to say in a Captain Marvel, in the Shazam book.
Yeah, it does sound weird just saying this stuff out loud, but apparently these are cosmic traveling T-Rexes, hyper intelligent. And they crashed here, and the kid just got wandering off, and Billy was returning him to the parents. But I think it really sets the tone for the direction that they're taking this new Captain Marvel series. They're trying to find a space for this character, and the odd monsters, misadventures are going to be his shtick moving forward.
Right. So once these dinosaurs leave, we then get Shazam goes back to, or Captain goes back to the Rock of Eternity, where he has some fun. And I love the fact that there is a one panel where you can see that is the Batman and Robin from, I believe, the first movie serial that was done in the 40s of Batman and Robin. The second one?
The first one was just called Batman, remember? Then they did
Okay.
Batman and Robin.
Right, but anyway, it's basically a picture of the Batman serial from the 40s.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Yeah, that he was watching. We then find out why he's called the Captain now, why he has settled on the Captain, and it has to do with an unfortunate maritime accident that we don't know exactly what it was.
said specifically because we're going through a life of the time of Billy Batson as Captain Marvel sitting in the Rock of Eternity, kind of introducing new readers. So what it's like just to be the captain and to be sitting around. They also tell us before that they spotlight again that his siblings do not have the power. He's unable to share it with them. But he says that a superhero name used to be Shazam, same as the word which confused some people. Freddie and Mary started calling me Captain. After a little maritime accident, I really do not feel like getting into right this second. And it's a great panel of him just floating or standing there in the ocean, soaking wet, and Freddie and Mary just laughing at him, which I think served perfectly. Like, we don't need an explanation. We, the readers, know that there's licensing issues with saying Captain Marvel, but we got to do something. He's not Shazam, and that
Right.
makes me happy.
Hmm. We get a brief discussion between Freddy and Captain, because Freddy obviously does not have the power anymore, like you said. Mary, as we found out, is part of Lazarus Planet, the Revenge of the Gods. She now has the power of six gods as well, but they're totally separate from the six gods that the Captain has.
Yeah, she has the Greek pantheon of gods. Well, the
Right,
female Greek pantheon of gods.
right, right. And so as they're talking, they realize that it's time for homeroom, and so they take off to homeroom, and then we see kind of in the shadows we see two people talking about two people that are obviously not happy with the way things are going for the captain, and so we will find out about them in just a little while. Um, yeah, go ahead.
What?
I said, oh, I thought you were going to say something. Sorry.
No, I had muted it because my wife was just walking through.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, so we find Billy now in school. He is basically, he's doing everything that he can. He's playing baseball. He's talking about his life, his overall life. They have a talking tiger again. Talkie Tawny is there as
This is
well.
also that really,
Um,
really important part where they touch on the missing power set. Because not only has his name been a huge contention for fans of the character and new readers, but them having to figure out this whole wisdom of Shazam thing. They talked about it briefly in the most recent movie, but they're addressing it in the comics in their own way, which I think is an even more solid way. Like, the wisdom of Solomon forever had been like, the dude's super intelligent. He can solve things, he can figure things out. We saw Black Adam in the movie learn English just from hearing it, kind of stuff. Well, in this, they're addressing it because when he's the captain, he's still child minded, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, they make it make sense in this and explain that wisdom is separate from intelligence. And they describe wisdom as like when you're eating too much junk food, hearing that little voice in your head saying, this is bad for you. Or when you're sitting in the Rock of Eternity as a superhero, that little voice in your head saying, you should be in school learning. You should be in school learning. That is wisdom. And that's what he has, which I thought was excellent. Because if we're going to deal with this kid version of the captain, like, at least
mhm.
they made sense of the wisdom thing as well. He does have it.
Right, right. So then we get a montage of Billy doing some, heroic things, and we see, as is done in lots of different comics now too. We see some social media things that are put out there about him. So, they see him taking on Brainiac. They ask would he win a fight with, between him and Black Adam. Um, and then there's one more thing that happens where he basically has to go and try to take a building off of people, a building that has collapsed. And so as he's doing it, he basically lifts the building up off of everyone. But by the time he's done and he takes the child and brings them back, he then basically says to them that how does he say it?
You should be on your knees with gratitude. You should feel blessed that someone as incredible as I would even dirty my hands with you. Who do you worms thank you? Then he snaps to. Something took him over. And while everyone was thanking him for saving the day, he had that outburst. And now he's standing there in front of countless reporters and news cameras wondering, what was that? What did I just say? What have I done? And that's where it leaves us.
Right. And so, if going by the solicitations that have come on, it seems as though there may be some infighting with the gods that are part of him that are kind of vying for control, and they basically want to be, um, seems as though they want to be treated as gods, and Billy is not allowing people to treat him like gods or to act in a godlike way. And that I'm assuming we're supposed to also assume that those two people from earlier in the issue were two of those gods. I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Um,
two of the
so
six. I mean, one
correct.
Joker was huge. I'm assuming that maybe Atlas
Right. Exactly. He
or
looks like
Hercules.
he could have the world on his shoulders.
Yeah, he looked
So
like he was going through some things.
he's
The
not
weight of
missing
the world
anymore.
on his shoulders.
So much to
Yeah,
tell Tom King he's not missing anymore.
yeah, he's back. He's back.
Yeah. um, so overall, like you said, I mean, I think I can't think of a better pair for Shazam to bring him back to the forefront. Um,
Someone like
because
Mark Waid who has so much reverence for the character, who recognizes the same issues that the readers are having with the character, connecting with him, but at the same time still setting him apart from Superman. Because for those that don't know, Captain Marvel was bought by DC. He used to be a direct competition and even outselling Superman. That's why he's so similar in nature. And that's where a lot of the issues come in with wanting him to be different and be a kid and all this and that. And they're needing to separate his shtick from Superman altogether. You know, he's still Earth's mightiest mortal, but giving him these misadventures with like the mad scientists or the space creatures or the weird stuff, I mean, that's a great way of doing it. And then the way that Dan Moore is drawing him is exceptional. You have like the squinty eyes like you had in the Golden Age. We're back to the classic costume after the events of Revenge of the Gods. I mean, it's spot on. We can't call him Captain Marvel right now, but we did just solidify that Mary is no longer just Mary. She's Mary Marvel, hard solid,
Mhm.
Mary Marvel. And now we got Captain Marvel being called Captain. So we're halfway there. We're more than halfway there. We're one word away from being all the way there. He is back. He is absolutely back. And the most important thing, the book was fun. It
Mhm.
read smooth. It read easy. It was a blast. Like everyone can relate to these kid problems of not wanting to go to school, but knowing that it's the right thing to do, or just sitting there just smashing on junk food and thinking that I'm going to regret this. Like it was so relatable in that aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, too, is um, I think Mark Waid is such a good writer because he is incredibly respectful of any character that he writes, and he has encyclopedia like knowledge of practically every DC character ever.
He's
Um,
been around the block a while. Plus,
exactly.
he wrote Kingdom Come. This guy knows what he's doing.
There you go. The House of Thunder.
Yeah.
Mm.
With that
Um,
flashpoint.
yeah, exactly. And so the other one that came out last week was Green Lantern. There's
And I
a
know
new Green
Paul's
Lantern.
excited.
There's a new Green Lantern book on the shelves, and it stars Hal Jordan too. So,
He's back.
um,
He is back.
right. And so, just kind of level set everything is when we last saw the Green Lantern Corps, the Guardians of Oa, the Guardians of the Universe, have disappeared. They're
They're
gone.
gone. The central power battery is destroyed. John
Right.
Stewart is a living green entity from a cosmic space source. Like the Green Lantern mythos is just it's just in a
It,
weird place right now.
it's in shambles, basically.
It's in yeah, anything that's status quo about the Green Lantern characters adjacent, and the mythos is non-existent right now.
Right. Right. And the United Federation of Planets has stepped in to kind of try to rule over things, and they have actually quarantined Sector 2814, the
Which
one
is
next to
Earth.
me.
Yeah, the
Correct.
one right, yeah, Paul's neighbor. Yeah, which all the famous Green Lanterns are from. Hal Jordan, Guy
Exactly.
Gardner, John Stewart, all the ones that most fans know and love. That's where they reside on Earth. And having quarantined them, we don't know why yet.
Right.
There's
Exactly.
apparently probably some ulterior motive at foot.
Right. So we start off. There is like Jerry Adams does not waste any time.
No.
By page 2, we see Hal Jordan again as Green Lantern. Saving some miners, basically, and saying, "Hey, do you need a lift?" And then we get the whole kind of prose about what's going on in the universe and everything. And we then jump right into Carol Ferris and
Yeah,
Ferris
who's sitting there, who
Enterprises.
sees all this happening on the news, him pulling the miners out of the mine, and she's like, "Oh God," because she knows he's coming. She
Right.
knows he's coming, and it's been a while. For those that don't know, he's been gone. Like DC's been wanting to forefront John Stewart, and they couldn't do both for some reason, so they just sent Hal away. And he's just been gone until Dark Crisis. He came back to all that stuff, so he's lost too. He doesn't know what's been going on, so he's immediately going back to familiar territory, to familiar people. So he goes back to his one true love, his ex-girlfriend, Carol Ferris, who also is past employer. Really, he needs a job.
Right. Right, exactly. And so she was kind of hoping to miss him on the day that he showed up, but he ended up meeting her in the parking lot. She agreed to have him come back the next morning. We then get a very brief scene of them talking about Green Lantern and everything, and we see someone who looks like it is the face of Sinestro in
Street
a
level
hoodie.
Sinestro.
Correct.
Who that
Which,
means
if you
he's stuck here on Earth too. He's quarantined
right.
on Earth with him.
Correct, and if you've seen one of the B covers, the Luciano Perillo cover, it has a street level Sinestro
Mm.
squarely on the cover. So
Shout out to Flash
um,
by Night Comics here on YouTube for coining the phrase street level Sinestro.
there you go. Thank you, TJ. And then we start doing some time jumping. We go back a month and then we come forward, and then we go back a month and then we come forward. So we go back a month to where Hal is on Earth, just kind of looking up and looking around and everything. Is just kind of he kind of is
Being lonely and
um,
sad, just thinking
exactly
about his purpose. He's stuck on Earth. What do I do here? I'm back. I just went from the cosmos to a trailer attached to my truck out here on the middle of nowhere, just staring up at the sky, wondering what I'm missing. Like,
yeah.
what should I
And
be doing?
he hears Kilowog's voice in his head, and
Yeah,
talk to
yeah.
him about everything.
And about
Uh,
that time, he also hears an explosion coming
mm,
from down the hill of the city.
right. And it is the character's called Steel Fury,
Okay.
um, which is okay.
I'm glad that
And then
didn't last long.
yeah, exactly. And then we jump back to current situation where Hal is again trying to get a job back at Ferris Enterprises, and as he has done so many times before, he ruins a jet, but it's basically a drone.
Yeah, it looks like
Um,
he's trying out for the Power Rangers, if we're going to be honest, because they
right,
want you to know which one he's in. It's
right.
green, of course. Then you got the purple one and the orange one. I'm like, yeah, I can get with this. Yeah, pushing the envelope, hot shotting with the other pilots, and ends up crashing it, of course.
Right, which leads to the obvious dressed down by Carol Ferris afterwards, which he has had plenty of, so he should be able to recite it to her by now.
Yeah, he looked
Uh,
like he was used to it too. It doesn't phase him. Like true to character, Jeremy kind of definitely lands the tone of Hal. Like he does. He gets it. Like it doesn't matter who says what and to what manner and what it's about. Hal's just natural response, kind of sarcastic, like nothing happened kind of thing. It was a fun scene for me.
yep. Jump back again 1 month, and we go back to where Hal is now going to take on Steel Fury, and he realizes that Steel Fury is wearing a Manhunter costume.
Yeah, it's not even Still Fury. It's just simply a manhunter. He comes in with
Yeah.
his truck, drives in, smashes the dude, hits him with a pipe, and scratches off the face. And that's when he realizes, uh-oh, this isn't just some dude. This is a
Right.
manhunter. Someone's got some armor here.
Right. And the issue ends where he is about to take on one Steel Fury / Manhunter.
Yeah, and he also in the fight it was pretty cool. The guy does
Yeah.
say that he found it on eBay basically, and he couldn't get it to work until about a month ago when it just turned on by itself because obviously Hal was returned. There's a Green Lantern nearby. The suit's responding to it. Hal told him, "You don't know what you're doing. That's Manhunter armor. It's dangerous." And he says, "That's what I'm counting on." And he blasts Hal. And he's sitting there blasting him. He's like, "What? How are you not a pile of ash? What are you doing?" And Hal just puts his hand up, and it's pretty cool because he just pretty much absorbs all the energy and forms his ring on around it, and boom, you get this really cool page, and that's how it ends, just with that little hoorah moment.
Right. Right.
Because it looks like
But
he charged his ring off the Manhunter energy in that moment. Because again, guys, there's no central power batteries here. There's no power source to keep this ring going. So it looks like that's what we had here. He ran in with no ring, no nothing, fought till the Manhunter started laying into him, and he was able to pull that energy into his ring. So I'm not sure how Jeremy's going to address this or what he's going to do, but that
I
was that
thought
for
so.
that moment.
Mm. But that's not the end of the book, because there is a backup story that is setting the table for an upcoming John Stewart title as well. Both the backup story and the main title coming up later will both be written by a gentleman by the name of Philip Kennedy Johnson, who we know you love, and I love too, because of he has a habit of taking characters and really getting to the essence of those characters and kind of really kind of you know If they needed rehabilitation, he does. But again, he knows how to get to their essence and make sure that that shows through in what he's writing. So,
He really does.
yep.
Yeah, we get a
Um,
pretty dope story here with this one. Like, it's John Stewart just kind of coming home to his mom's house, like saying, "Hey, I'm home," kind of thing, and her crying, hugging, blah blah blah, and kind of just cuts right to him like rebuilding the shed for her and talking about, "I'm not leaving again. I'm home for good."
right. But then we shift to another what's called another universe, another time, and we see what looks like a much older Guy Gardner, working with a young
Ring
uh,
singer.
yeah, exactly, young Wingslinger, who almost looks like a young Guy Gardner in some ways. Um,
Yeah, kind of
uh,
does. Here at
yeah.
least.
Um, we get they are fighting someone that we come to find out is Lady Revenant. I believe that was her name, right?
He's a bleed over from the
The
whole.
Revenant Queen.
Yeah, so like that's who like they were dealing with in the Teen Lantern stuff, right? Because they introduced the
Right.
Revenant like the future state, everything, and the weird little Teen Lantern run, and then that John Stewart special that kind of wrapped it all up with the main bad guy. Apparently, there's somebody above the main Revenant. It almost looks like a Black Lantern style Revenant.
Right. Right. We get a brand new Lantern oath spoken by the younger Green Lantern of the two. There's nothing that says that everyone has to say the same oath. Um, and basically, we find that the Revenant Queen is looking for John Stewart. That's her goal. And that's basically where the issue ends. Um, looking to be continued in part two. So um, he kind of started things off kind of folksy with John Stewart, but then he really kind of hit the ground running after that with some action and setting up exactly what he's going to be doing in these backup stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to me, two winners in the Dawn of DC again. Um,
My big thing is with the Green Lantern book. I mean, unless they announce that it's extended, they are going to have to start exposition dumping ASAP.
mhm.
Because even with those two stories, like it says another place, another time, we don't know when. We know like the stuff with John Stewart's happening. We know there's no Guardians. We know there's no batteries. We need explanations if we're gonna tell a story outside of simply just explaining how this stuff is happening. We need those exposition dumps.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm hoping like we did with Green Arrow. We found out right when the first issue came out, or even maybe even before the first issue came out,
Yeah, the day
that it was
of.
going to be extended, to 12. So, hopefully we'll get some good news on that soon as well. Um, but that's it. This week we have Cyborg, we have Brave and the Bold, we have the one I'm most looking forward to, Titans, and Brave and the Bold too. Those two of them. So we got lots of stuff coming out again this week on the Dawn of DC. So um, we're gonna just keep rolling right along.
I'm looking forward to it. It's nonstop hits. Nonstop hit.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's going to do it for this episode of DC Comics Deep Dive. As always, as I said, I am Paul, but he is Mark. Um,
We are Legion.
Right. And you are now leaving Sector 2815. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. See you later.
Bye bye.